I'm just looking 3 days ahead, so.
Okay, well, we're going to get started in about 1 minute. I think there's a couple more people coming on and then we'll get started. Patty, would you do this when we get ready? Would you lead us in the pledge for
Okay.
start? Okay, well, when we get started, I'm going to wait
Okay.
1 more minute and then I'll call this to order.
Oh, Patty, I have to tell you, I stopped by a place called Iris Vizio. They had a huge amount of eyeglasses. I have to go through them, but I'll probably be delivering them next week. But I mean, a large box.
Wow. We counted 1,140 eyeglasses last night.
Oh my
Just
word.
3 of the kids counted while the rest of us made chili.
Patty, we had a request for another eyeglass box. Do you have any boxes?
I do not have any boxes. I gave all the boxes, I believe, to Judy.
I have the boxes. So if you
Okay.
need them, let me know and I'll deliver some to you.
Okay, Tommy needed a box. Tommy requested a box.
Or Westminster Manor.
Yeah.
I was looking for a couple of boxes as well.
Okay. Well, can y'all
Okay,
get-
I
can y'all
have
get
some.
Judy then?
Great, how you doing?
Hi, Greg. Well, it looks like it's 12:30 and we've got a nice group here. And if more people come aboard, that's great. Meanwhile, I'm going to call this, I'm going to call to order the oldest Lions Club in the world. And Patty has agreed to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and pledge the Texas flag. And remember, please to mute yourself. Otherwise, what we hear is everybody saying the pledge, and it makes it really difficult. Okay, so let's stand if we can. And Patty, would you lead us in the pledges?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
Okay. All right. Now we're going to welcome our guests. Greg, do you want to introduce your guest later when she's the speaker, or do you want to introduce her now?
If I can get off mute, I will introduce her now and when she's a speaker.
Okay.
But we'll welcome first as just a fellow Lion Beth Slade from Michigan joining us today.
Hi, Beth. Okay, do we have any other guests?
Oh, Tommy has a hand raised.
Yes,
Oh, you have a guest?
I have a guest. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can see a fan too.
Well, I'm fine. Now do you see my guest? This is my Labrador Retriever, since it's a dog show today.
Yeah.
Gus is 5 years old and he's currently black under my desk. You can barely see him, but he's taking a nap. I'll wake him up when we start the program then. It's my dog Gus, my guest today.
Okay, great.
My wife Sid's back here. She's a member of the club too, but she's not, she's busy eating.
Okay. Do we have any other guests we need to introduce?
Hi, Sam.
Okay, well then, we have 3 birthdays this week. Shirley Dillman's birthday is tomorrow, the 11th. Jim Overton's birthday is the 12th, and Cliff Barkley's birthday is the 15th. So if you see any of those people or want to send them a hi or send them a card, please do. Okay. Then we are now ready for our member profile. Robert Seidel is going to tell us a little bit about himself. And Robert, we're looking forward to hearing briefly about your wonderful life.
I never do anything briefly, but here's my member profile. How's that look? This is actually my best side right here. I'm honored to be the member profile today. I'm from Dallas. My father was a member of the Oak Cliff Lions Club, Wynwood. He was a doctor in Oak Cliff for 50 years. Wes Braden brought me into this club. I think he lost a bet that night. But since I've been in the Lions Club, I feel like I'm closer to my dad who passed away. I would go to Lions clubs with him sometimes, and it was a lot of fun. Growing up in Dallas, I had the unusual distinction. My mother came and took me out of elementary school, and I saw President Kennedy about an hour before he was murdered. And that was kind of traumatic, as it was for everyone. First time I ever saw my mother cry. In the club, I've enjoyed being the tail twister on the program committee, having speakers come, and being kind of the photographer for many years. I've enjoyed that a lot. I love all you guys and girls, and I really love my membership in the Lions Club. And that's my member profile. Thank you. If you'd like printed copies, just send me an email and I'll be glad to autograph it and send it right to you.
Well, just be sure to give us the profile like you did before. Yeah, the
Right.
side profile. Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions of him before we go into our announcements? What, Chuck? Chuck, you muted.
You're all muted, so before you speak, please mute yourself and keep yourself muted so other people don't get disturbed.
Okay, thank you.
I
Yes,
just wanna say
Robert.
I enjoyed Robert's corny jokes.
Thank you. Glad somebody does.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give a shout out also to Robert. Enjoyed it. Robert, we found out by being in the same Lions Club that we have a little background that kind of unites, going back many years, back to Wharton, Texas. So there's another story there, but enjoyed it, Robert.
Thank you. That'll be for another time.
You
Okay.
bet.
All right. Well, that's great. So thank you very much, Robert. Well, let's go and move on to our announcements now. Patty has left the room for a minute. What I will make an announcement. We've been meeting, the committee for the casino night has been meeting every Friday night, to kind of wrap up things, and we'll be meeting again tomorrow night. So if you have any recommendations or anything to tell us, let us know. You can contact me, or you can contact Patty or Ann Ward or Beverly Weeks. We're all on that committee. And then Saturday morning, we're going to be working on some decorations. So we're busy. And that's all I have on as far as updates on the casino night. Oh, you can look online. If you go to austindowntownlions.org, you can get if you need a form for casino night to buy a ticket, or for Rose Day, the forms for both of those are on our website now. All right, then I think it's time to move on and introduce our speaker. Greg, are you going to introduce would you introduce our speaker for us?
Sure, I will, and she can fill in the gaps. I had the pleasure of meeting Beth almost 2 years ago when I visited the Leader Dog campus, and picked up our first puppy. Even though the offices were closed for the pandemic, she came out and met us and it welcomed us both as puppy raisers and as prospective new Lions at that time. I joined this club shortly after that. I've seen Beth in several Zoom meetings since then, and besides being an engaging and passionate speaker for Leader Dogs, Beth is just simply a delightful person. She always makes me feel like I'm talking with a new old friend. I think you can already see that her smile is luminous and brightens up the room, even when it's a virtual one. It's my pleasure to welcome Beth Slade. and she's going to give us an update on Leader Dog.
Thanks, Greg. That was a really nice introduction. So I am Beth Slade. I am the Director of Philanthropy for Lions Engagement at Leader Dog. What that means is that me and my very small team of 2 others, we steward Lions clubs all across the country, Canada, Mexico, and Spain. And so I'm doing Lions 24/7, as a matter of fact, and I really enjoy it. This is absolutely a thrill for me. So I'm going to go on and share my screen. Greg, thank you for the invitation today. He asked if I would kind of give you guys an update on what's going on. You all have one of the, oops, I can't seem to optimize for a video clip on sharing. Oh, we'll see if this will work. Hopefully I'm sharing my screen with you guys right now. Shake your head if you see a little golden retriever puppy. If I don't have a real dog with me, I will bring pictures of them. So just to kind of give you a little update, Greg, like I said, he's one of the greatest ambassadors. He's jumped in to Leader Dog and Lionism with all 4 paws, and he's amazing. And it's hereditary because his aunt is Phyllis Krebs, who is a district governor up in Missouri, who I've been actually texting with today. So our little Texas spring update, there is a picture of a little golden retriever who is sitting in front of little pillows that are shaped like candies, Valentine's Day candies. I just like pulling the pictures together. So let's see what's going on in Texas. I'm always going to give you a quick reminder of our 3 programs, because even just recently, we had a club in Minnesota who had a presentation done by one of my colleagues, Lion Mike Dengate, with our program director for orientation and mobility, Lion Erica Erke, and did a presentation just like this on Zoom. There was a gentleman who was a longtime Lion who was in the group. He had no idea that we provided orientation and mobility or white cane training. And it just turned out he was eligible. He actually was in need of this service, and he just graduated from our orientation and mobility last week. So sometimes when you have these Zoom conversations, you never know who in the room really can benefit. So how we serve, quick recap. I just mentioned orientation and mobility. A lot of people don't realize this, but we actually teach white cane training. So that is how to get around, how to navigate, not with a guide dog, but with a white cane. And we all know who came up with the international white cane with a red tip? Lions. That's our, there you go, nod to that. So not only did Lions found Leader Dog, but we're the ones who came up with that international symbol. This is a great tool. I hate to say this to a room full of Labradors, so cover their little ears. Dogs are not for everybody, and they're not for every occasion that you're going to be out traveling. So you have to have that basic white cane skill. And we've had some very recent graduates from Texas up here for our orientation and mobility. And we are celebrating our 20th year with this program this year. So know that that's something that's also in your, it's just also in your holster. I think I can say that in Texas. It's in your holster of tools, your tool belt. We also have summer experience for teens. Texas, you all have an amazing Lions camp. This is something that can be in addition for kids who are 16 and 17 years old, who are blind or visually impaired. So not only can they go to Texas camp, they can also come up to camp at Leader Dog as well. We've also introduced Tom's Talks, which are for young adults in their early 20s. And this is all virtual. And it's part of it is self-paced, part of it are meetings like this, where they get together and learn about different ways to get around, travel, share some of their experiences, make sure they're ready and prepared for entering the job market. That's been really popular. We started that with the lockdown of the pandemic, and we're continuing it. And of course, our last program, it's the obvious one. So I think I put that last for that reason, our guide dogs. So I'll give you a little update of what's going on. This is our Texas snapshot. We are still serving people all over the country. And during the pandemic, it has cut back not only on the number of dogs that we have available, but who can safely travel. So there was a short period that we were completely shut down. I say that as in serving clients. Our dogs never left, and they've been in training ever since. So we are back open. Our classes as we speak are a little bit smaller. We're looking to go back to a quote unquote normal size class, which is usually about 15. But what we have found out during the pandemic is that we need to change our ratio. So it used to be 4 clients to 1 trainer, and now we're going to start doing 3 to 1 trainer. So this is actually a silver lining that's come out of the pandemic. So we do have clients in class as we speak. And in Texas, I always like to give you guys a little snapshot of what's going on in Texas. You all have 33 active leader dogs, paws on the ground in Texas. I know that you just had 1 or 2 this year that have come up for training. In the history, we have placed over 480 dogs in Texas, and that's a pretty good return on investment by today's standards. That's over $22 million worth of services that we didn't bill anybody, right? So remember, all of our programs, all of these are free. It includes the transportation to and from Texas. If our guide dog mobility instructors do a home delivery to someone in Texas, it's also free. Doesn't matter if someone has insurance. Insurance doesn't cover our. So all of this is free for clients. Pat yourselves on the back, because that's all of us working together to be able to do that. We've trained 38 people that have come up to campus from Texas in that white cane orientation and mobility skills. And we have 11 kiddos that have come up for summer experience for camp. So that's pretty exciting news. You guys are probably one of our longest served communities. Let's see, let me turn that up. So what is new? What's going on that's hot off the press? There are 3 things I'm going to give you a quick overview on. The first one, there's a logo on the left-hand side of, it's an outline of 3 dogs, a Labrador, a German Shepherd, and a Golden Retriever, and they have little headphones on. This is our logo for Take the Lead. So we've started a new podcast. Does everybody know what a podcast is? Because I had no idea when people started throwing that around. It's like a radio show. That's all I can say. That's what a podcast is. And a lot of people love podcasts. It's become a huge industry. We have jumped in on that, and LCI, Lions Club International, has also helped us to get the word out. So this podcast is 2 of our staff. One of them is our certified orientation and mobility specialist, Leslie. She is interviewing and co-hosting this with Tim Cuneo, who is a client of ours. And every month they have different topics. The podcasts are about 25 minutes long. The podcast that just came out, they're actually interviewing a young woman named Sarah Claudia. She's actually out of Georgia. She lost her vision after having a tonsillectomy. Her mother actually woke her up that evening after she had it, and couldn't actually get a response out of her, and she ended up losing her vision. It's really an interesting interview with her just to see what her journey has been. She's a young woman. She went back to college. She just recently got married. It's not only for anybody who is blind or visually impaired, but it's for all of us who work with people who are blind or visually impaired or serve them, to kind of get an understanding of what it's like. So they've got other topics on hiding blindness. That's currently a lot of people who are going through that don't want to admit that they're losing their vision. They talk about busting myths in one of the podcasts. Greg, I'll send you the link. If none of you usually subscribe to podcasts, such as myself, I don't, but I do have a link that you can go in and you can listen to the different podcasts. I highly recommend it while you're sitting at your desk, while you're hanging out in the sun and you're not shoveling the snow like I do. And one of the other things in the center, we have Dinner in the Dark. This is a leader dog event back before the pandemic. Actually, the last one we had was a week before the pandemic. We had 750 people at the MGM in Detroit hosting this Dinner in the Dark, and it's a blindfolded dinner. It's a great evening, 750 people. I'm pretty sure I hugged 748 of them, and next week the entire universe was shut down. I thought for sure I was going to be the first COVID victim in Michigan, but we were safe. So we're doing it virtual again this year, and we've come up with something for Lions. Our virtual, if you go on and you get a seat, you can get a seat for 2. It's a quote unquote seat for 2. you get a box that has everything in it for the event, and you host your own dinner in the dark at home. There's actually a program that you go onto your TV or onto your computer and you can watch the program. It's about an hour long. It is phenomenal for something that is a virtual event. And we put together a table for 8 for Lions. So if there are 8 of you that feel comfortable getting together, you can order one box and it will come to you to host a dinner party for 8. No more than that. It's just not safe. So I'll send you the link for that too, if you're looking for something fun to do on March 11th. And then the third thing I wanted to let you all know about is to help get the word out on social media or any other way that our summer experience for teens, that camp for the kids, is open for registration. So anyone in your community, anyone that reaches out and works a lot with the Texas camp, let the kids know that this is an opportunity for them as well. At this point, we believe it's going to be in person. It is here on campus in Michigan. The snow will be gone, I promise, and it will be a lot cooler here than it will be there. Matter of fact, y'all might want to come up because we really don't have humidity like they say we do. So we would love to have the kids be able to take part in this as well. So registration is online. I'll send you the link for that as well. So outside of that, I'll sandwich this up with ways to partner with us. Please help us spread the word on all of these. If any of you are on social media, Instagram, Facebook especially, connect with Leader Dog and share our stories. Don't just like them, but share them. And we like to do that going back with what all of y'all are doing too. So connect us with your local agencies. If you all have departments of the blind and visually impaired, let us know. Greg could go out and do a presentation to them. I can come down and do presentations to them as well. A lot of your local agencies don't realize that we're a resource, and we are, because we have 1.3 million people to serve. So it's not a competition, it's a collaboration. So let's get the word out. Post brochures, Greg, I know has some. If not, I'll send them. Any place in town that you see a push pin, those brochures don't do any good in your recycle bin. Stick them up somewhere. They also have a Lions logo on them. And of course, help fundraise. We appreciate any bit that you do that you can. I know it's a little difficult with everybody shut down, but like I said, all of our services are provided for free and we are 100% philanthropically funded. We don't get government funding. We don't get insurance, like I mentioned, and we don't charge for them. So every little bit helps. Thank you very much. And I'm going to try, Greg, I know you sent out an email that had a couple of links on there for some of our YouTube videos. I think I saw that in the email, right? So go back to that email that Greg sent you. There is a quick video, I think it's about 10 minutes long, of our campus tour. That kind of gives you an idea of what we look like. I always have lions. I had a lion once who said, I thought it was going to be a strip mall with a couple kennels out back. And we're actually on a 14-acre campus. So if you have a few minutes, watch that video. There's also a short video on the life cycle of a leader dog. Greg could be featured in that because he's part of that life cycle of a leader dog as a volunteer puppy raiser. But I'm going to try to show you this one. I'm pretty proud of this one because we came up with this one in-house and we did this with our fabulous cell phones. Hopefully you can hear it. So let's try it. It's just about 2 minutes long. Let's see.
I'm Lion Sue Daniels, President and CEO of Leader Dogs for the Blind. As part of our team, you help spread the word in your local communities that Leader Dog is here to serve them. Please know we are constantly striving to provide the best services, no matter the obstacles. Thank you so much for being part of our team.
Hello, I'm Lion Dr. Dave Smith, Director of Canine Health at Leader Dogs for the Blind. Our team is responsible for caring 450 puppies per year, 90 breeding dogs, and 450 dogs in training per year. We want to thank you for all you do for Leader Dogs for the Blind. You're a welcome part of our team.
Hi, I'm Lion Erica Erke. Thanks for being part of our team and sponsoring over 100 orientation and mobility clients through our White Cane training program. Also, another huge shout out for sponsoring 24 summer experience camp teenagers for our week-long program.
Part of the Leader Dog team, you help about 200 people who are blind, visually impaired, or deafblind experience the freedom of guide dog travel each year. You're also part of the team that helps support over 1,200 active Leader Dog users worldwide, many of whom live in your local community.
David Kirsten from Norburn, Missouri, and this is my buddy Nigel. And we want to thank the Lions Clubs and all those who make it possible for me to be here with my new friend. Thank you.
I'm Rick Young from Glasgow, West Virginia. This is Griffin, and we want to thank the Lions for what they do.
Hi, I'm Calvin Van Zijveld from Grand Rapids, Michigan, and this is my new Leader Dog Wake. Thank you so much to the Lions Club for helping me receive this wonderful dog.
Hi, my name is Patty. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. This is my leader dog, Luna. She is my 5th dog. Lions, I thank you so very, very much for this opportunity to come. It is a beautiful place, and obviously, because this is my 5th time.
So hopefully you all could see and hear that. And we really enjoyed putting it together just as a little thank you for everything that you guys do. Lets us do what we do. Does anybody have any questions on this quick update? Yes, Lion Sam. I hope that's really your name.
Sam. Yes, I've got a question. But I actually have 2. Over 30 years, I raised 5 golden retrievers, and I have learned that over those 30 years that every single one has its own individual personality. Every single one of them was completely different. So here's my question. What happens if you have a dog that really wants to be early retirement, wants to get out after being with the family for 2 or 3 years? What happens to the dog at that point? And how is he retired if he decides he doesn't want to do it anymore? And that to me would be something that I'm kind of curious about. What happens to a dog when he has early retirement?
That's a really good question. My husband's trying to ask that about himself right now, about early retirement. So our dogs, a dog makes it through to be an actual guide dog because they want to do the work, because they're motivated to do it. Golden retrievers and Labradors are great experience, and we have Labradors, golden retrievers, and we cross the 2 as well. They have a great work ethic. They truly enjoy it. If a dog needs to be career changed early, we first will send out a guide dog mobility instructor. That's the trainers. So they train the dogs and they also train the people to see if there's a reason. Maybe it's a health reason the dog doesn't want to work, or maybe it's been traumatized in some way. So we try to work to see, is this something we can work out? If the dog truly is done and is ready to retire, then the person can reapply for another dog. We don't have a cap on how many. You saw the one client on there, Patty, she's back for her 5th dog. And then why is that dog retiring? If the family can keep the dog, or the client wants to keep the dog, they can keep the dog. It's theirs. If they can't, or if they're unable, or they can't, they can donate the dog back to us, and we will go back actually to the puppy raiser and ask the puppy raiser if they would like the dog back. And if not, we put the dog up for adoption. We have a long list of people who would like to adopt. Career changed, their career changed. As Greg knows, nobody flunks out, nobody retires, your career changed to just being a pet. Then we offer them up to the people who are on our list. So does that help? And yes, each one of them has their very own personality. And I'm a little soft-hearted with the Goldens. I've got a 12-year-old one who was just sitting in here with me. Yes, Lion John. You're muted. I'm sorry to say. I can see you.
Yeah, I apologize. One of my sons has been on my computer. I'm actually Gaylord Armstrong, as the club knows, but we're a family of yellow labs, and we talk about having reared yellow labs. Actually, they reared our boys, and special animals. And your video presentation, Beth, is great. My question is, we saw pictures of lots of puppies. At what age do you begin to train appropriate animals to be leader dogs?
I can tell you that Greg's puppies started even before Greg picked them up. So even when they're whelped in a volunteer's home. And then at 6 weeks, they come back to Leader Dog for about a week. And even then, the puppies start to learn good behavior, like to sit before they're fed, sit before they're picked up. So that training starts from the very get-go. And then when they go home with their volunteer puppy raisers like Greg picked up his puppies at 7 weeks. And they have a whole curriculum that they have to go through, teaching that dog really how to be a good dog. Then they come back. For example, Greg will have his dogs for about 12 to 14 months. All depends on the pipeline that we have going on. We have to have so many puppies born a month, so many puppies going home to puppy raisers, so many puppies coming back, so many dogs getting issued, because it's a continuous, right?
Right.
And God plays a little part in that of how many are going to be in that litter, right? So our puppy raisers could have them anywhere from 12 to 14 months. And then they come back for their formal training, which is 4 months, working with our guide dog mobility instructors. And that's where they're learning the guide dog work. So a lot of and Greg works on this as well, distraction training, stopping at curbs. All of that starts with our volunteer puppy raisers and then goes into hardcore university mode, so to speak, when they come back for that 4 months, and then they get issued. And even then that training with the client still continues on. So it's a process from, gosh, I'll say 4 or 5 weeks all the way out. And just so you know, our guide dog mobility instructors, that's a 3-year paid apprenticeship to become a GDMI. It is a whole lot of studying, a whole lot of, it's a whole series of things that they have to go through. That's an international designation. There are probably about 14 or 1,500 GDMIs worldwide. So if you complete our program, you could go be a GDMI in Australia. You heard David Laughlin in that video, the guy with the funny accent. He's from England. He's a GDMI who came over here. So and Greg would be happy to do a presentation on puppy raising. So
some of the early training is what we traditionally do or should do with puppies anyway, the stay, the sit, and the obedience training. Okay. And
yes, how to be a good dog.
Yeah.
How to be a good dog. Yep.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And we're big fans of labs. Yes, I see.
Amen.
Lion Heart Song. That's so warm. And you're on mute as well. I snuck up on all of y'all on mute.
Okay, sorry about that. My name's Judy. I don't know how Heart Song got up there. It's from another Zoom meeting. But anyway, I was wondering, is it possible for a homeless person to have a guide dog?
Is it possible for a homeless person to have a guide dog? You know what? That is the first time I've been asked that. That's a very unique question. So I'll tell you what my educated answer to that be. Absolutely, every person is a unique situation. So if there is need and that person is able to care for that dog and that dog is going to make a difference in their life, I would certainly suggest to them to apply.
Okay, thank you.
I'm certainly not going to rule it out. We don't rule out because someone lives in a big house or a little house or an apartment or, you know, it's all about, will this dog make a difference? My next question to that person would be, have they had white cane training? Because you need to have that, you need to have that skill set. And that could also be a really good alternative if a guide dog is not.
Okay, thank you. I work with homeless quite a bit anymore. And so we do have some people that are blind. So I was wondering about that.
Sure. So you know what? And that would be really great because, again, remember, it doesn't cost anything for our services. So even if it's white cane training, that can be a huge help for them in just daily travel. And they can do that a lot more confidently and it doesn't cost anything. So have them call us.
I will. Thank you.
You bet. And Greg, I think Greg put something in the chat that there's a 1,000-page manual that we sent home to the puppy raisers. There's a little bit in there.
It feels like 1,000 pages. It's really only 100, but it's a lot of information.
It's a lot of information. And they have a whole program online. They have a university online. They have a lot of resources. So any other questions, thoughts? warm ideas.
I have another one.
Yes.
How do you get funded? How do you get for grants? How do you do that? Is it difficult? Does Lions International provide you with grants in order to participate? But I'm just kind of curious how you're able to do that.
That is I am pleased as punch that you just asked me that. So like I said, we're 100% philanthropically funded. So we have to fundraise our entire revenue every single year. LCIF has participated with us, and we have a great partnership with LCI and LCIF. LCI does not donate themselves. We have a $12,000 grant that we just received from LCIF that helped purchase a new scale and an exam table in our veterinary clinic. So we also have a full veterinary clinic that we take care of all of these dogs. And we have 2 full-time veterinarians. So most of the money that we fundraise every year comes from individuals, and this is in order. So our annual fund, which is mainly individuals, Lions clubs and Lions Club members. Individuals also donate to us. Individual donors. It's a much smaller number of grants and foundations, and also corporations is our smallest book of business. But we try to come up with as many different revenue sources as we can. When we were first founded, we were founded by Lions. Lions were our only source of revenue. And you know how, if you invest yourself, you don't want all your eggs in one basket. So our leadership, which was Lions leadership, was very forward thinking and said, we need to come up with different lines of revenue. So we have different books of business is what we call them. And we fundraise through all of those avenues. Does that help?
Yeah. And do you do any television or radio telethons or anything like that?
We don't. Mainly because there's so many areas that we're in. We rely a lot. The network of Lions is what connects us. Lions are the whole reason we serve all 50 states and Canada and Mexico and Spain. It's because of the network of Lions. We have Lions who have gotten PSAs put on their local TVs. We in South Carolina, we have a huge billboard up that's really cute. So we rely a lot on what Lions can help us to do. But no, we have not done telethons or radiothons. There is a Lions Club south of here that does a radiothon, and part of the donations go to Leader Dog. Yeah, thanks for asking. Oh, I've got questions. I think Lion Robert.
Yes, I just have a friend who got a dog because she was going through the grieving process. Do you all partner with the grieving dogs? That we know that dogs are very friendly and companions and so forth. Do you all partner with this kind of organizations?
That's a good question. So we train guide dogs. You're talking about probably a therapy dog, which unfortunately doesn't really fall under service dogs. So you've got guide dogs and service dogs. Guide dogs are trained specifically for people who are blind or visually impaired or deafblind. And service dogs have to provide a task like picking up something off the floor, turning on a light. So all guide dogs are service dogs. Not all service dogs are guide dogs. So we train only guide dogs. Our career change dogs, we first look to see, can they work in another service industry? So we partner with other types of service dog organizations. One of them, for example, is the Canine Advocacy Program, which is here in Michigan. And we provide them dogs that would fit well into what they do. And those dogs sit with kids who are testifying in court. So that's a type of therapy. So they only get their dogs from us. So yes, we do. We partner with other service dog industry organizations because they might not be cut out for a guide dog, but they might be perfect in another type of service. So yes. And Patty, Lion Patty, you had a question? You're muted. That's going to be the phrase of a tattoo across everyone's forehead.
You may have already answered this question. I had to get up and actually go talk to a group of kids that are blind that came into Human Resources to find out more about HR. But I wanted to know how old you have to be to get a blind dog, get a guide dog, and also how good your mobility skills have to be. And if you're in a wheelchair, can you get a guide dog?
Really good questions. All right. So the answer to that is 16. So at 16, not only are they eligible for camp, but also for orientation and mobility, and also for guide dogs. We have a lot of kids who come for camp. They come back for O&M, the white cane, and then they come back for a guide dog. I call that the trifecta. So we try to be there for every stage. We found that 16 is really about the age. What usually happens at 16? You get the keys to a car. So this is sort of their first foray into independence. And this is about the age that they're old enough to start taking on the responsibility of a dog. So 16 is our youngest age. By the way, we don't cap out anywhere. Doesn't matter how old you are, but at 16. And I suggest all of them go onto our website and dig around on there, because there's some great information on there. On our website, if you go under resources, there's tons of videos on there for prospective clients, for family and friends of people who are coming for our services. There's a lot of resources on there. Go to leaderdog.org. And the last question you asked is about a wheelchair, and that's a really good question. So, and this is kind of industry-wide. They have not found a safe way for someone who is blind or visually impaired to benefit from a guide dog. It's too difficult for a guide dog to understand the width of a wheelchair. So think about this way: you're going down a sidewalk and the dog doesn't necessarily get the width of where that other wheel is, and it can actually be much more dangerous. So I would think I can say quite safely that you would be very hard pressed to find an organization that can help with a guide dog. But that's not to say that there couldn't be other alternatives that are out there. So yeah, and I always say, call our client services. Every single person is a unique individual, and we treat them that way. So everybody has a different level of vision. So have them give us a call.
Thank you.
You bet. We like getting the word out. Any other questions? Greg is also a really great resource for you. You can always email me, call me. I don't want to take up your whole meeting. I'm sure you all have.
By the way, Greg is delightful. He did bring Daisy to our Leo Club meeting, and they loved Daisy and wanted to meet the new puppy.
Who doesn't?
Let's schedule a time. I'll bring the new one out.
Okay, how about during the time when we make chili?
That sounds like I want to go too.
Beth, that was very, very interesting. Do we have any more questions with Beth?
No, but Beth, your presentation is just outstanding. That's very well done.
Thank you.
I salute you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, I thank you all for your interest, your time, and everything that you do to help us serve more people. Because like I said, we serve Texas. So send them on up. We'll come on down and get them.
Okay.
What part of Michigan are you in? Where are you in Michigan?
So I can do this in Michigan. I've learned this. I'm not from here originally, but we're just north of Detroit. So we're down here in the bottom of the, not quite up in the thumb. We're about 40 minutes north of Detroit.
Yeah, I used to spend a lot of time in Flint.
Oh, that's only probably a half hour from me.
Yeah,
I've hung out in
there's,
Michigan. I've hung out in Michigan a few times, and sometimes it's shaped like a palm, and sometimes it's shaped like a digit, depending on who I talk to. It just it can be a tough state. You don't get enough sunshine, is all I'm saying.
I have to tell you, I did a presentation in West Virginia, and I'm from right next door in Maryland, and went to school right by West Virginia. And so I just naturally do this now. And I said, what do you guys do for West Virginia? I was like, you kind of like, because you've got like a little thing.
Sure. Right. Yeah.
Let me tell you, that little peninsula is much larger than you think it is. And I thought I had overstayed my welcome. The entire convention, I looked out and was showing me how they tell you what West Virginia looks like with their hand gesture. And I almost dropped my mic and walked out.
That's
So,
awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, I can see another program about hand gestures and how and all of this.
Right.
I'm gonna turn off the mic
already.
Now I'm gonna work with the deaf. Are we not overstretched enough? Come on. Enough of this.
I'm gonna shut my mic off.
Okay.
But Beth, one more question. Does weather ever interfere with your training? Because I think we've got a very wintry scene right behind you. And it comes to mind because the University of Michigan recruited my older son for football. And his only comment was after a great visit and recruiting trip said, Dad, it sure will be cold sitting on those beaches in November. But does the weather ever interfere with your training?
Yeah, that was my husband's recruitment tactic as well. That's funny. We have only closed our campus. We closed our campus once because of weather back in like 1952 because of the temperatures. So no, actually, we have a client right now who's in from Arizona, and they put little booties on the dogs and walk them. No, because there are a whole lot of people who live with this stuff, and so they train year round. And our guide dog mobility instructors are out in the snow because a lot of people our dogs have to be able to go from Alaska to Bolivia. So they have to work in heat and they have to work in cold. And that's why we choose these breeds of dogs.
Okay, we have one more time for one more question, then we need to move on. Steve.
Sorry, real quick. When I was in Michigan, it got dark at like 10 o'clock at night. So does that circadian differential affect the dogs or affect, and it's a serious question because I don't know if that, because Michigan is unlike any other state that I know, maybe a few others up in the upper Midwest that it's daylight till very, very late at night in the summer.
Yeah.
Does that matter? Does that come into play?
No. So as a matter of fact, that gentleman who is in from Arizona, he has kept his dog on his same feeding schedule. Just so it doesn't, because he brought his dog back for some touch-up training. So he kept his dog on the same. No, you know what, when you take your dog back to where you're going, whatever your time zone is, you just kind of work that into the new. I know some people only feed their dog once a day, because that's okay with dogs, or, twice a day. You come up with your own schedule. We just always say, stick with it, even if you start traveling after that.
Okay.
That's a good question. All right.
Thank you very, very much. We do appreciate the program. It was very interesting. You could tell I know that there could be a lot more questions. Could you hang around a little bit afterwards for other questions? Okay, good. Thank you again. A couple more things. I got an email on the chat. Somebody wanted to know where the casino night is going to be and what time. It's going to be at the Norris Center. And if y'all are familiar with that, that's off Anderson Road, and it's what used to be called the North Cross. It used to be called the North Cross Mall.
It's
6 o'clock. Yes,
it's in the
Patty?
Red Oak Ballroom, and it's off of that Highland or that North Cross Mall Drive.
Yes.
That goes around the backside of it.
Yes, and it's at
And
6
Patty, the
o'clock.
date one more time, because we've had various dates.
February 25th. It's a Friday
Okay,
from 6 to 10.
Yes. Got it.
Right. Okay. Mac, would you, what we're going to do is, Mac, if you could tell us about next week's program, and then we're going to have, Robert is going to auction off another dozen lovely long stem roses. So Mac, could you tell us about the program for next week?
Sure. Next week is a real unique treat. We've got our very own Lion Judge John Wisser speaking. He's got some 40-something years of judicial experience. He's been a judge for some 40 years of that. And he's going to be talking to us about the DWI laws and how they've changed over the years. And so it should be interesting.
Well, thank you. It looks good. Thank you very, very much. Okay, JP was on earlier and he texted me that he was having trouble with his internet. JP, are you available to lead the auction? I don't think so. So may I have a volunteer who would like to be the auctioneer for these lovely roses that Robert has? I need a volunteer.
Any possibility Alan Ford might volunteer?
Alan, your name has been suggested. Could you, would you be the auctioneer? Alan's on mute right now. Do I have a volunteer to auction these roses off? Robert went to all the trouble to go to Randall's to get these, y'all. Steve, are you volunteering?
Yeah, I'll volunteer.
Great,
JP is back.
Back. Oh, JP, you do it then, please.
Oh,
Yeah.
JP, okay, JP, could you, thank you, Steve. JP, we're ready for you to auction the lovely roses that Robert has.
Okay, and I just came back in and clicked on after being kicked off half a dozen times, so everything better now, except what I see on screen. Can you hear me or not?
I can hear you.
Well, unfortunately, I'm losing the screen now again.
We hear you loud and clear.
All right, well, we'll start and see if I may not see your hand go up, but somebody else can watch for me then.
Okay.
So we've got another dozen roses, and I suppose, Robert, you would take them to Beth if
Whoa.
the roses. Now my screen is frozen up again. All right, I see a hand up there. Is that a $50 bill, Jim?
Jim, you muted, yeah.
100. Somebody help me.
100.
100. Am I up again? He's got a 100 there. Hear that? Anybody want 100 and a quarter? Or John Niefler, you 100 and a quarter? Or is that a late hand hanging up?
John Nyfelder?
And like I said, I can't see what's going on
John raised his hand, John Nyfelder.
because my screen's all freed up.
John Nyfelder raised his hand. Is that right, John?
John Niefler, John is
I'm in for 1 and a quarter.
Well, I'll let y'all decide because I'm not able to
okay.
be an effective auctioneer. I got the last bid I got was 100 from Jim Roberts.
John Niefler just bid 125.
Yes.
Any more bids?
Okay, got 125. Anybody 150? Let's put ourselves out of our pain and give it to John Niefler for 125.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks, JP.
Okay, thank you. Yes. I want to go over a couple of important dates for you to remember, and then we will adjourn. Remember, okay, next week, February the 17th, after the meeting, we will have a board meeting. And so I hope all the board members can be there. And remember that if you're not on the board, you can still attend the meeting. You can't vote, but you can attend the meeting. And February the 25th is going to be our casino night. March the 31st, we're going to box roses. March 24th, we're going to deliver roses. And April the 2nd is the Lions Camp Work Day from 7:30 to 3. Does anybody else have any important dates that we need to know about? Anne, did you have something?
Yes, I just want to remind everyone about the Lions Leadership Forum. It will be here in Austin, and it's in March. And just one second, and it's the 9th. It starts around 11 on March the 19th, and it's over about 2 on March the 20th. It's a weekend. It's at the Radisson Hotel. And it's a wonderful educational opportunity for you to learn a lot of things about Lions and interact with state leaders. And I believe the cost is $75. There is information about it on the MD2 website and also on the District 2S3 website.
Yes, and the brochure doesn't tell about the form doesn't say about the meals. You said there were 4 meals included in that $75. Is that correct?
That's correct. It starts with a luncheon on Saturday. Then that evening, there's a very nice reception and mixer. And then there's a dinner. And then they have breakfast and lunch on Sunday. And they will have speakers, probably one of the past presidents from Texas. Well, the only living past president from Texas. And we'll have some international directors there. So it's a great opportunity to interact with some Lions leaders. And it's a fabulous learning opportunity.
Well, thank you.
Did you raise your hand, Greg?
Oh,
No, okay. Well, if that's all, then I'm going to adjourn. And remember that Beth said that she would stay around for a couple of minutes to answer any more questions. Thank you all. It's wonderful to see you, and looking forward to seeing you next week. Bye.
Go ahead, anybody has any questions?
I'm full of answers.
Any questions?
Beth, are you, are the guide dog mobility instructors still running a training session in Florida for the warm weather clients? No.
No, as a matter of fact, it's just too difficult. Not really knowing what the pandemic was doing.
Sure.
So
That's what I assumed.
yeah, but we're doing a lot more home deliveries. Mhm. But I will say most clients prefer to come on campus.
Sure.
Mhm.
And I think you mentioned there were a couple of recent deliveries to Texas. In fact, one of those, I think in the last few months, was to the Austin area. I don't know where exactly, but we have not only a future leader dog puppy and a career changed pup, but a working dog in the Austin area now.
I think there are actually a couple. I'd have to go in and look, but I think there's a handful of clients in Austin. Keep getting the word out. We'll keep getting the numbers up.
I have a question about the white cane training. Is that done anywhere except Michigan?
It's usually we're set up for it to be done on campus. We're looking actually into the feasibility, the expense part of being able to have someone who can travel to do that. But right now it's just here in Michigan. But stay tuned because that might change.
Yeah, because I was thinking that satellites in different states might be very useful.
Yes, it would, but it's also very expensive.
All right.
But stay tuned. Stay tuned. I'm not going to say it's not on the long-term strategy plan.
Well, as you know, they're not online now, but many members of our teach the school for the blind and visually impaired here in Austin. And I was wondering if they could give that training, or some other organization, not yours, you could train other organizations to do it.
So that's a college degree as well to become a certified orientation and mobility specialist. There are a couple of universities, University of Kentucky, University of Western Michigan, and probably a handful of others actually have a program all the way up to a master's program for people who know how to teach, how to navigate with a white cane. So a lot of times we find that agencies are so over, their caseload is so large, or that because of their caseloads, they may say, unless you're actively looking for a job, you don't qualify for white cane training, which I don't know how many of y'all on this call are actively looking for a job. I'm not, so I wouldn't qualify. I'm pretty well ensconced right here. So, but that would take me out of the running for it, right? So, and they have to do that because they just have such heavy caseloads. Well, we don't have that, that criteria. So we've let agencies know, send them to us. That doesn't take them out of your caseload. And then when they go back, you can do the follow-up work with them. And it works out really, really well. And certified orientation and mobility specialists also need to do continuing education all the time, and we can offer that. So it's actually any agencies, I can connect them with us. Our outreach services, we're a wealth of information to work together.
Roberto?
Roberto.
Austin Community Colleges has a very strong continuing education program. If you talk to the Austin Community College, because they would probably be very interested in doing that.
In the certified orientation and mobility.
Yeah, certified orientation program, yeah, because they
Yeah.
have a strong continuing education program and it's open.
This is
And
this is
it's a lot
yeah.
more, it's less expensive and all that here, but I
Mhm.
know there's a connection. So Austin Community College, I would say.
If you know, do you know of somebody there, Lion Roberto?
Yes, there is the dean, Hector Aguilar, I think. Called the dean of continuing education, Austin Community College. He's Hector.
I will look that up and pass that along.
We're talking to him about the reentry program with the prisoners.
Oh, yeah.
They want to do something there too.
We do have puppy raisers that are in prisons. Not speaking of Greg. That's nothing about what Greg's been up to. But we do have puppies that are raised in prisons. And actually, I've had a lot of Lions from Texas ask if we can raise there. And it's difficult. Greg will tell you, it's a long drive to get from Michigan to Florida.
The Texas workforce, state of Texas workforce has money put in doing that reentry program. So there may be some money there too.
And they have some great programs already in their prisons working, rehabilitating dogs, actually. I know that Texas is very good at utilizing that talent pool.
Use that resource.
Yes.
Did you do something right?
Judy?
Just a thought I had. When you were talking about the cost of trying to have a traveling trainer, I thought this popped into my head, but maybe Lions members could house them while they're going around to train people.
They look to see what is I don't even touch base on that one, but we're always looking for ways that we can actually put money towards the services versus, the travel.
Well,
I'll post that. I'm sure.
Expense part.
Yeah.
Good idea. Good idea.
Very good. We like all ideas.
Anybody else?
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you again, Beth. Obviously, we really enjoyed it. We had a lot of questions. So with nothing else, no other things to discuss, I'm going to adjourn the meeting.
Roberto?
Oh, Roberto.
Just Beth, if you talk to Hector, tell him Robert Martinez. Martinez is my last name.
All right.
Recommend.
Okay. Well, thank you again, everybody. Hopefully to see you next week for another interesting program.
It sounds like a good one. Thanks, you guys. Thanks, Greg.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Brenda.
Bye. Yeah.
Thanks.